Hey everybody, welcome. This is Patriot Plus. Give everybody about 1 minute to come in. Patriot Plus here on YouTube, also known as Talking Politics with Larry Swikart. So welcome to Friday, March 24th. And we will get started here in just a second. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Talking Politics with Larry Swikart here on Patriot Plus. As always, this is brought to you by Patriot's History of the United States and the wild world of history. So check out our website at www.wildworldhistory.com for full curricula in U.S. and world history, and for the VIP and on the Wild World of Politics site for the great Insider program. And I'm adding all sorts of new videos to the Insider program, including a whole new series, 2 episodes in already, called Globalism, Then and Now. So you'll want to check that out. All right, well, let's get started. Big news this week. News item number 1 is that Trump's indictment was postponed by the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Boast and Bragg. And so, you know, this guy is in deep. He is totally committed to this. I agree with Robert Barnes. He's going to find something to indict on. He has to. He can't walk away from this at this point. He's been at it too long, has too much invested, and you're going to say, well, what's he going to indict him on? I don't know. According to Barnes, Trump has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 really superb defenses for this idiot case about paying off Stormy Daniels. It's already outside the statute of limitations. A candidate can, if this was conceived as a campaign contribution, which is apparently what Bragg wants to claim it is, a candidate can donate any amount of money to his own campaign that he wants. So that's kind of silly. And there's other reasons, but I do agree with Barnes that Bragg can't back out now. He's too far in this. And remember where he is. He's in New York and attacking Donald Trump for any reason. Orange man bad. He's going to be popular, and he's going to have support. And people aren't going to get mad at him if he loses. They will get mad at him if he quits. So I think you can continue to see this unravel next week. And really what it's all about and what these delays are all about is Bragg searching for the best indictment he can possibly get. But as of Wednesday, they say that a good prosecutor can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. Well, as of Wednesday, old Boast and Bragg couldn't even get him to indict a pickle, let alone the ham sandwich. So he's still working on it, but I think eventually he'll get something that they can say, all right, here's your indictment. There is also this case going on in Georgia where Trump is kind of being charged with election tampering or something like that because he dared question the results of an election. And so I think that you'll also see something more come of this. I don't know what. And remember, you do have Grand Moff Garland and his Justice Department investigating Trump for Patriot Day, J6. And so you'll probably see something more come of that. Now, what does all this mean? Well, first of all, there was a meeting 3 or 4 weeks ago with Ron DeSantis and Karl Rove and Paul Ryan, and I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, just my opinion, I'm just guessing that members of Fox News were there too, and probably a few members of the Bush community, the inner circle, and they told DeSantis that Trump would be taken out via indictment, and that his time is now. You can go run right now. Don't wait. Go now. So he took their encouragement to heart, and that's why he ramped up his efforts to enter the race now and not wait. He's been assured that the indictments would get rid of Trump. Okay? So he continued for about 2 weeks to let surrogates handle his attacks on Trump, and he stayed reasonably quiet. And he kind of tried to stay above the fray, very Reagan-esque, without attacking his opponent. And for a while, this strategy appeared to be working. But, folks, I consider myself a Trump scholar. I've read his stuff. I wrote a book on Trump. I followed him deeply since 2016. And it just now dawned on me what President Trump did over the last 3 weeks. He understood that this was DeSantis' strategy, to remain above the fray. And so he nicknamed him. And I did not like this nickname. But what did he nickname him? DeSanctimonious. Why? Because Trump saw that DeSantis was trying to position himself as above politics. I'm not going to get involved in name calling. I'm not going to get involved in politics. And of course, he's encouraging his surrogates to do exactly that. And I've got no problem with that, folks. I have no problem with political fighting, bloodbath, infight. It's a bloody, bloody sport. And you want the toughest, hardest guy to come out on top for November. All right. So I don't disparage DeSantis for doing that. I disparage him for the strategy of trying to remain above it all and be viewed as pure. And very early on, Trump saw this and nicknamed him accordingly. And again, at the time, I thought that was a little over the top. He isn't pompous or whatnot, but I now see what was happening that Trump saw, which was that the surrogates were the ones doing the attacking, and DeSantis was trying to portray himself as outside of politics. Okay, so with that in mind, what did Trump do? He launched some fairly brutal attacks on truth, name calling, if you want to say that. He attacked DeSantis's record on CRT, on trade, on the vax itself, on all sorts of things. He went, and especially on Florida. No, said Trump, he's not that great a governor. Chris and Scott were better governors. Now, I totally disagree with Trump on that. That's nonsense. Chris was an okay governor. Look, let's be real honest here. I could run Florida, and it would be a popular, growing, thriving state. Because the state is popular and growing and thriving. People want to move there. Not me, because I can't stand that humidity. But people want to go there. It has no income tax. It's got good school systems that DeSantis has rightfully worked on to get the CRT out. It's got a thriving entertainment hub both in Miami and Orlando. It's got beaches. The only thing that doesn't work in Florida's favor is that horrid climate in the summer, where it feels like you got to take a shower every 30 seconds. And believe me, I've lived in Florida during the summer. My rock band played in Cape Coral. We played on Clearwater Beach. We lived for a long time at Tampa while we were opening for Steppenwolf and the James Gang and recording our album that never got released. So I know all about the Florida summers. And I wouldn't live there if I didn't have to. It's not a place I would choose to live. Now, if I could live right on Clearwater Beach, somebody's going to give me a mansion on Clearwater Beach. Okay, all right, I'll live there 6 or 8 months a year, right? But that's what Florida has going against it. And the other thing it has going against it, and you just can't ignore this, is it's in a hurricane path. And every few years they get a pretty bad hurricane. But other than that, my point is, probably any one of us could run Florida effectively for a few years because it's a It's a money machine. It's just an incredible dynamic economic area, population growth, so on and so forth. But Trump is wrong. I mean, Charlie Crist and Rick Scott were good governors for Florida, but they basically sat on top of a locomotive and just kept it on the track, right? I don't think that they did anything to screw it up, but I don't think that they did all that much to enhance Florida's overall position in the Union. It's perfectly positioned with no income tax and with good immigration from some of the right sources and from a lot of elderly people dumping their money down there. So you have a lot of good things happening in Florida. So Trump is wrong on that DeSantis was a bad governor, or was worse than Scott or Chris. That's nonsense. But he is right to an extent that almost anybody could go down there and run that state. And DeSantis has done a good job of running Florida. But why did he launch these attacks? Does he believe this stuff? No, he doesn't believe that. He launched these attacks because he was poking, right? He was poking and prodding DeSantis to do what? To respond. And that's exactly what DeSantis fell for. He responded. That's exactly what he did. Over the past week or 2 weeks, he replied and he responded. And what did he do? He responded in kind. So the first thing Trump was able to do was, or the Trumpers, the Trumpites, the Trumpanoids, whatever you want to call us, and I'm MAGA, I'm one of those people. He got DeSantis to make a statement apparently backing off the Uke War. Remember that? He called it a territorial dispute. And boy, did the excrement hit the rotating device, as the great Rush Limbaugh used to say. People came out of the woodwork on NRO and on all the Rovians and the Bushites. And what are you talking about? The neocons went nuts on Rove. And especially the NRO people who hate anything that seems to side with Trump. No matter how right it is, they hate it. Remember when the Supreme Court abortion case came down? Because Trump put in those judges, they hated it. NRO, which supposedly had been pro-life, all of its existence, all of a sudden is not pro-life because it was Trump judges that did that. So Trump got DeSantis to move toward the populist base in opposing the Uke War. And DeSantis calls it a territorial dispute. Tick, 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 tick. All of a sudden now, he is under fire everywhere, and he has to back off on that, which he did just 2 days ago. Oh, no, Putin's a terrible guy. We need to have regime change in Russia. I mean, he went full Uke. And as they say in Tropic Thunder, you never go full Uke, right? So Trump got him right away to do a flip-flop within the course of a week on Ukraine. And what did that do? That only exposed him more to the anti-Ukraine war people over here, the no foreign war people, who are the populist base in the Republican Party, and even in some of the Democrat Party. Not a lot. There's a lot of warmongers now in the Democrat Party because that's what Biden is. So now they're supporting that. But Trump provoked him. He prompted him to flip-flop not once but twice on Ukraine. And that got attention. Second thing he did, with all these comments on Florida, he outed DeSantis publicly. Now, he hadn't said anything about this till now, but he outed him publicly to where DeSantis talked about Trump's protesting the 2020 election. I'm on YouTube. Soon I will be someplace else, but I'm on YouTube, so I can't say certain words here. But you know what happened in that election, and you know how Trump felt about it, and you know how the MAGA supporters felt about it. So the strategy was that he got DeSantis to comment on that publicly. And what did DeSantis say? He said something that was historically stupid, just flat out dumb. And DeSantis went to Yale. He should have known better. But Trump got him to make this comment about Trump should have left just like George Washington did. Just stepped down peacefully and left. Well, he got the history wrong in almost every way you could get it wrong. First, George Washington did not want to be president. He never wanted to be president. He agreed to be president because he knew that's what the country needed, and he knew that's what the people wanted. But George Washington never wanted to be president. And he agreed to be reelected again because he thought the nation needed the stability of 8 years of one person and one party in control. But when it came time in 1796 for Washington to step down, he did it like that. And there was no constitutional rule or amendment or law that said he had to step down. Remember, they didn't change that until FDR, and after FDR's 4 terms, they changed that. So Washington, one, voluntarily left because he didn't want to be president. And the famous quotation is that John Adams said, as they passed each other when Adams was taking the podium, Adams said, "I thought I heard him say." Now, he didn't say he said it. He said, "I thought I heard Washington say, you are rightly in and I am rightly out. Let's see which of the two of us is the happiest." So even if Washington didn't say it, Adams knew how Washington felt, that he wanted out. So, first thing, Washington stepped down voluntarily. Second thing, he didn't have to leave. Third thing, it wasn't a fraudulent election in 1796. There was one concern about a Georgia elector, and Thomas Jefferson brought it up, and Thomas Jefferson did not bring it up. The Republicans at the electoral count did not bring it up. Adams, who was vice president, he was doing Mike Pence's job, as it were, in 1797. Adams gets to the point where he comes to the Georgia electors, and he says, "Georgia," and he stopped, and he waited, and he actually gave Thomas Jefferson a chance to protest the Georgia electors, even though it might mean Adams would not win the election. But he stopped and let Jefferson have a swing, and Jefferson likewise refused to put in a motion. He just sat there, and after a few moments, Adams took the message. Jefferson's not going to object, and Adams went on with the electoral roll call, and that was that, and John Adams was elected. So, first, Washington didn't want the job. Second, he didn't have to leave. There was no constitutional reason for him to leave. Third, there was no fraud acknowledged in the electoral count. Fourth, this is very important, John Adams was Washington's vice president and was a member of the Federalist Party in good standing. He was every bit as much a Federalist as George Washington was. Why is that important? Because Washington knew that he was not handing the government over to an opposing political viewpoint that would undo much of what he did. Now, I'm going to take it a step further here, because Thomas Jefferson, in terms of his political views, was nowhere near the opposite of Washington that Joe Biden was to Donald Trump. I mean, not even in the same universe. Jefferson loved America. Jefferson wanted to see what was best for America. He had different ideas of what was best, but if he thought anything was going to damage America, he would have stepped down himself. Now, it's seeing that out of this guy, the rutabaga. So, in 5 different ways, Ron DeSantis made a stupid, historically dumb comment about Trump comparing him to Washington and stepping down. So, A, Trump outed him in terms of ignorance of the historical record, and B, Trump outed him in terms of getting DeSantis on record as basically endorsing Biden's presidency and saying there was no FRAUD involved. Okay? That's genius, folks. You may not like how Trump did it in terms of his language, in terms of how he framed the attacks on Truth Social. But man, you have to admit that was genius. That's up there with Bannon bringing the 4 women out on the debate night and having those 4 women right in the front row. And Clinton, remember that look on Clinton's face? That's some pretty brilliant stuff. Again, the means by which he did it was pretty bloodthirsty, pretty brutal. But the end showed that he was right on the money in what he was trying to accomplish. And thus, let's go back to the nickname DeSanctimonious. Now he's got DeSantis in the mud. And you know what they say about wrestling with a pig. You know, you wrestle in the mud, you're both going to get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. Trump loves this stuff. He loves getting down dirty. And you know what? He would turn around a month later. Let's say Trump got the nomination in 2024. He'd turn around and appoint DeSantis to a very high position if DeSantis wanted it and would say, yeah, I'm going to support you. So he doesn't carry grudges. What comedian was it that said that that Frank Sinatra had Sicilian Alzheimer's? He only remembered the grudges, right? Trump's not like that. Okay, so this was, whether you like it or not, this was a very effective move on Trump's part. First, label him DeSanctimonious, then 2, get him to kind of abandon this high ground, this very pristine and nice and play by the rules position, get down in the mud with Trump. That was, and he did it in 2 weeks, folks. That's amazing political instincts. So I would say, just to kind of wrap all this up about Trump and DeSantis, I still think some indictments are coming, or an indictment is coming. I don't think it will hold much water. They don't care. All they want is the indictment. Now, I also think Trump has possibly gave them yet another cause to pause. Another cause for a pause. That's a good rock song, right? We cause for a pause. Anyway, in that, Trump said, oh yeah, bring it on. Here, handcuff me. All right, bring me down. I want the perp walk. Now these guys, oh God, wait, why does he want that? Well, they're good to be asking that question. They're smart to be asking that question, because Trump has a plan on how he's going to turn a handcuff perp walk, and he ought to wear a MAGA hat or put MAGA paint on his face when he does the mug shot. I mean, he's got it planned. This is going to be a campaign ad. Mark my words. If they perp walk him with the handcuffs, this will be a campaign ad in 24, and it ain't going to hurt Trump. Now, there's a lot of people out there who've already abandoned him because they want Trumpism without Trump. To quote the old line, they want Falstaff and they want him thin. Can't have it. Can't have an XR1 Corvette, 800 horsepower with a speed regulator. You got one or the other, right? And it's not gonna have a smooth ride. You're gonna get the sports car ride. So that's what you get with Trump. And that's what you get with Trumpism. Because two of the main tenets of Trumpism are trade and the trade wars and non-globalism. That's all one kind of thing. And the other part is no foreign wars. And that's the part that appeals to the blue-collar, non-religious working class in America. Read J.D. Vance's book, Hillbilly Elegy. I come from Ohio. I'm born in Arizona, but I was in this area of Ohio for 30 years, just 20 miles up the road from where Vance was. A.K. Steele. I did a biography of the CEO and founder of A.K. Steele, Bill Verity. I know that community, and I know the people that J.D. Vance is talking about there, these blue-collar, non-religious people. In essence, their job is their religion in many ways. It's the way they see themselves as getting their family to a better life. And they will not go for foreign wars. They hate the neocons. They hate the Republican Party elites. They hate the Democratic Party, but they're not going to go for another Mitt Romney or another Paul Ryan or another John McCain. They hate those people, but they love Trump because A, Trump speaks their language. He talks in common talk. B, he has promised no foreign wars in the first 4 years. He held up to that promise. C, he is all about trade and trying to improve the U.S. economy, not the global economy. So DeSantis already had a major problem trying to attract those people, and now that he has stepped in it 2 separate ways, he is in, I think, a huge amount of trouble. And then you've seen the polling, Monmouth, Morning Consult, they both shifted dramatically in Trump's favor in the last 2 weeks. And I don't think DeSantis is ever going to get those people back. So that's where we are this week. I will be back here. For some reason, I can't get on locals yet. We're working on that. I'm going to try to get this over to locals so I can say certain words that I want to say. But until I do that, we're right here. And remember, this is brought to you by the Wild World of History. And if you need a history curriculum for high schoolers or homeschoolers, see my curriculum there. If you're a member of the Wild World of Politics Insider, folks, I've got new video coming. I've already recorded 2 of them. I'm going to be doing 5 more next week. The first lesson is globalism, then and now. You're going to love this series. And then I'm going to have a new series on America in the 21st century following that. And then I'm going to do a series on wokeism. This will all be coming in about the next 3 months, so hang on. We're going to get brand new content for you Wild World of Politics insiders up coming soon. And again, until I get all this stuff really down and get the technology mastered, I'm not taking comments in the thread. But if you have questions, please email me with your questions or comments. And that reminds me, I need to make a correction. Last time I said the Wisconsin Supreme Court election was, I thought it was yesterday. It's April 4th. So thanks to a listener for pointing that out. If I make a mistake, I always want to know about it. Send me your questions or comments at Larry@wildworldofpolitics.com or Larry@wildworldofhistory.com. Either one gets to me, and I will answer those first thing up next time. So I will see you guys back here